What's up guys? So we did a video not too long ago about a new Tesla delivery checklist and you guys seem to really like it. And the last month I actually bought two Teslas and both of them were used. So we thought it would be very helpful to come up with a new checklist for used Tesla. You might save some money, but there's a lot of things that you want to make sure before making that purchase. So let's get started right away. So before we get into the exterior or interior or anything, there's a few things that you want to check. The number one thing you want to check is you want to make sure that the VIN number matches the actual car that was advertised on it, color and options. And this can be things like obviously the color of the car, like black, silver, midnight silver, metallic and all that. But other things like, does it have white seats? Does it have 5-seater, 6-seater configuration, 7-seater? So there's a lot of configuration things that you want to just double check. Make sure that if it has FSD, AP, or enhanced AP. And if it has FSD, it will say full self-driving capability. Like right now, if you pay for FSD, it's a $15,000 upgrade, right? The other way you could pay for it is actually through a subscription. So when it says full self-driving capability, right under that, if it is already paid for, it says included package. And that means that it will transfer to you for a used vehicle. However, if it says renews and then the date of when it will renew, it means that it is on a subscription basis. So most likely when you get the car, you'll get to use it for that month that it expires, and then you will no longer have it and you'll go back to a basic autopilot most likely. So I think one of the most important things that you want to check for on the vehicle is the warranty that you get with it. So when you buy a new Tesla from Tesla.com, you typically have a 4-year basic warranty or 50,000 miles, whatever comes first. And then they also have an 8-year drivetrain and battery warranty. When you're looking at your list and you're going through, like, there's a lot of panel gaps, trunk issues, and so on, if it's under 50,000, maybe it's like 30,000 miles, you could bring it to Tesla and have those fixed mostly without paying for anything. You can actually check it from your phone. All you have to do is go to the app at the bottom, right? So I have my car right here. It says specs and warranty. And then under that warranty, it will show you it has basic warranty, battery limited warranty, and a drive unit limited warranty, and it tells you all those things. So the next list is going to be for the UMC, which is also called the Universal Mobile Connector. It'll be typically in this bag for Model 3 and Y's version, and the newer ones for S and X, or sometimes it's a more circular bag, but it comes like this and everything included. But if they don't give it to you or they're trying to charge you, $700 markup on it, don't buy that. Just buy it from Tesla website. It's in stock and it's only $200. The next part of this is going to be the underside battery, no damages. It's really important to check that there's no like punctures or any damages or dents, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. And if there are dents and a bunch of damages under there, to me, this car hasn't been well taken care of and I would probably step away. To me, that's a lot more trouble. And for S and X, it has air suspensions for most of them. So you could just raise it up all the way and then look at it so that you can see it a little bit better. And if this car is still for you, we're going to start talking about the exterior of the car. So starting with the paint, glass, and wheels. So the first one is surfaces and underside are free of scuffs, marks, abrasions, or smudges. So the thing about used car is you are going to get the scratches and stuff like that. You can't expect the perfect immaculate paint, right? I mean, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 years old. So expect chips, scratches and stuff. But what I'm looking for here is really deep scratches, and the way you do that is we do the fingernail test. You kind of just use your finger and then run it through. And if you can really feel that dip whenever you run it through, that means that it's most likely going to be very hard to actually correct with paint correction, right? So that means you either need to touch it up or you might need to get it repainted. And if it's minor, I'm gonna, either do it myself or take it to a detailer and get it buffed out. And I can kind of tell by doing that finger test whether it's gonna come out or not. All windshield and glass is free of cracks. This is pretty easy to kind of inspect. You just look at it from the outside, and there's a lot of glass in most Teslas. So Teslas have like front windshield, panorama roof, and then also the rear windshield. It can be really hard to see because there is a tint on it already from the factory. So what I would do is just go inside and look for those rock chips as well, right? That's going to be additional costs that you have to consider if there is a crack on the windshield as well. So this is really simple, but you want to just check that all 4 tires have valve stem covers on them. And if they don't, you can get it for free. They're going to give it to you. You might as well get it from them. And because these Teslas are so heavy, the tires can wear pretty fast as well, and tires are one of the most important things on a vehicle. So you just want to make sure that you have good tread depth, right? So the way to do that is we call it just a penny test, and flip it backwards like this, and you have Abraham Lincoln's head. If you can see the top of his head, it probably means that you're way too thin. A lot of times the inner part wears a lot more. So you want to make sure that you check all of those levels, right? Don't just check the outside, check the inside as well. So next, let's talk about the panels. The main biggest misalignment that you'll probably see are doors, sometimes hood and trunk open and close properly. So just open up your front, close it, and just make sure that there's no weird sounds or it's closing properly and latching properly. And you do the same for the trunk as well. Just open up and then close down as well. And then the doors, open every single one of them and close it. And you shouldn't have to like slam it. You just kind of have like medium force when you're like closing it. And if it's not closing, there might be some misalignment. And that's your choice. Like, it's not like I'm gonna not buy the car if that happens, but just keep in mind, you probably have to take it back to Tesla and have it aligned just a little bit better. So let's get into the exterior electronical parts, right? So one of the first things that you want to check is if you have key cards. This is for the Model 3 and Y. Actually, now for the new S and X also have key cards. You just put it on the pillar, the B pillar, and just make sure that it works, right? Sometimes they may give you the wrong key card. And then for the older S and X, usually you use a fob, right? So just make sure that both fobs do work. These aren't cheap either, so just make sure if they give you like 2 or 3, that's even better. And then if you do have an X or an S, especially on the X, you just want to make sure that all the doors are working on a hinge, right? So the X has the Falcon doors, and those can be problematic. It's amazing, it's awesome engineering. However, I mean, you just want to make sure that it opens and the sensors are working properly. So what I like to do sometimes is I'll like stand by the door, like kind of close. I'll open the door and see if it like senses properly. So next we're going to talk about the maintenance portion of the exterior, and you just want to make sure that all safety things are working. So you just want to click on the little red button and check that the emergency lights are working, your turn signals, the brakes. Just push it and just have someone look at it and just tell you if it's turning on or not on, right? You want to check your high beams, your lights, your fog lights. So pretty much everything that has to do with lights, you just want to make sure that they do work. The next thing you want to check also is for condensation in the lights. Again, if this is under warranty, I wouldn't worry too much about it because that's something that they can fix. We actually also did a video about how to replace those if you do have condensation, and this is very common in like the 3 and a Y. You want to make sure that chargers are working and latch and unlatch without problems, because it'd be an awful experience if you got the car and you try to charge at a supercharger and it doesn't charge and then you can't make it home and you got to pay for like towing and all that. And you just want to make sure that the windshield wipers work and look for alignment issues. My 2020 Model Y, for a little bit, the windshield wiper would hit and it would hit like my hood and it would like kind of damage the paint right there. I mean, I had a wrap, so it was damaging the wrap. Again, that's not a really big issue, but a lot of the times as you're going down the list, you just want to keep note so that if you do have warranty, you take it to Tesla and then you have a list for them to do, and typically they'll get it fixed. So let's go inside now and look at the interior of the car, right? And the main thing that you're really looking for are the seats, right? Has it been well taken care of? Our surfaces are free of scuffs, marks, and abrasions, right? And it's not like, you know, like things that will come off where it's like permanently there, right? So maybe there was like a burn stain or something, you know, those are the things that you really need to get fixed or replaced. But if it's just like dirt or something, or they just didn't detail it properly, that's all fine. You can get it clean later. So that's not really an issue. And the other thing you're really looking for is tears, right? Or like stitches being undone, right? Those can be also repaired, but that also means that it's not being as well taken care of. The last part is going to be the back seats are aligned. This is specifically more for the Model Y that I speak of, but what happens is on the back seats, there's, you know, it's a 2 and then there's that 1. The earlier model in the 2020 tends to be a little bit off like this, or off track. And if you bring this up to Tesla, they will fix it as well. So now let's get inside the electronics of the car. And the first thing that I like to look at is you want to touch the display, and you're going to look for discoloration, bubbles. This happens a lot more in the S and X. The older models tend to have this water, like liquid, and it bubbles up and it starts to go on the edges of the displays, right? Not just the middle display, but also the instrument cluster, right? So Mine actually didn't do that, but like a week after I bought it, it started doing that. So that's one thing that you have to watch out for, especially if you have like an MCU1, like older hardware, right? So I'm gonna actually get it replaced. The other thing that you wanna look for is sometimes they have this yellow border and it can get pretty bad. If it's gonna be so bad that you can't see certain areas and it becomes a safety hazard, then definitely get it replaced. So you're gonna look at your screen. Next thing you're gonna make sure, just crank up the AC and also heat. Just make sure that it's working, and that's pretty easy to check. While you're there, you just wanna, on that screen, you just wanna click on the, we call it bacon, right? 3 bacons. You just click on that, just make sure that it comes up. And for the newer Ys, you just wanna make sure that the steering wheel also heat up. And that's gonna be all in the same settings. So you wanna check for the rear backup camera and the side repeaters or the cameras that are clear and working. Click on the backup camera, you just swipe up, and then you'll see the side cameras as well. You just wanna make sure that you have visibility. You wanna check the speakers as well, and what I like to do is I just play a random song, and then what I do is I go to the balance and I move that to the front, to the right side, to the back, to the middle, and then also to the right back corner, and just hearing if all the speakers are activating. And while I'm doing that, I play it for like 10 seconds. I'm looking for like buzzing, clipping, and if you don't hear that, you should be good to go. You want to check that all windows go up and down. There is a motor that brings up the windows up and down, the actuator, and you just want to make sure that the actuator is not broken. So just do it for all 4 and just make sure that it is working. While you're finishing checking up all the window buttons, you just want to make sure that all lights are working. So typically, like on a Model Y, you have 2 dome lights in the front, and you also have lights in the back, in the middle, a turn on ambient light, and you'll have like footwell lights and puddle lights and so on, like right when you open the doors. So for a lot of the Teslas and all cars, typically the front seats are going to be on a track and it's motorized. So you could go like back, up, down, you know, and then seats go all the way back and so on. If you have an X, like a 6-seater, this is really, really important to check, because that track that, you know, for the captain seats, those are very, very expensive to replace. So you just want to click on all the buttons and make sure that it goes in and out in a smoothly. And what I'm hearing for, if it doesn't hear like crackling sounds as they're going up and down, right? You just want to look at all USB outlets and 12-volt DC receptacle have power. What I like to do is I just bring like an iPhone charger and then I just plug it into all of them. Just keep in mind, if you have a 2020, you're going to have a USB-A. And then if you have like 2021, typically it's only going to be USB-C, right? So maybe bring both. Well, I know that was really long, but it's really important to be thorough, especially when you're investing on a used Tesla, whether it's new or not, right? Because you're still investing a lot of money, so you do deserve the best. Again, it will help us a lot. We love making content for you, but we're gonna make even more awesome content if you subscribe. So please help us out by clicking that subscribe and that bell button. We're gonna be coming out with a lot more content. If you have any questions about buying a used Tesla, just let us know. And also, we have done a series about buying from dealership to private party, and also from Tesla.com when you're buying a used Tesla. So check out that series. We're gonna put it down below as well. We'll see you next time.